Hi everyone, this is Sharifa Tharpe, attorney Sharifa Tharpe at SC Law Office, and I am finally back. I am live to answer your immigration questions. So I was out of commission for a little because I had an unfortunate allergic reaction to a face moisturizer. So it would not have been pleasant to be online. So I took some time to make my face heal. Now everything is good. I'm back to answer your questions. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer your questions. I usually come with a topic as well, and today I'm going to talk about some of the misconceptions about applying for the green card in the United States. Because not everyone qualifies, so I want to talk about who qualifies and who don't qualify to apply in the US, but how you may go about getting the green card in other ways, especially if you're here in the United States, you don't have your papers though, and you're looking to fix your status. But I want to let you know that you can drop your questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer those questions. Hi, Sexy Tommy. It's nice to see you after about a week out of commission. So go ahead and drop your questions. So Sexy Tommy, no new news. I am keeping an eye on the news every day. And there's, unfortunately right now there's a crisis at the border, and a lot of the news is, about that's happening at the border with the unaccompanied children and families at the border, but no new changes, no major changes in regards to immigration reform. But I'll be sure to update you as soon as something happens. Thanks for that question, Sexy Tommy, and I'm going to use that to say please go ahead and drop your questions. It doesn't have to be related to what I'm going to talk about, and your questions are my priority. So I'm going to be talking about the common misconceptions in regards to applying for the green card in the United States, and this is going to help you to avoid making those mistakes while being in the United States. And I'm also going to cover how you can fix your immigration status if you're here, you don't have your papers, but you want a green card. So I'm going to tell you ways that you may qualify for it. So the first misconception is that once you have a family member who can sponsor you, that you can apply for the green card while being in the United States. That's the number one mistake that I see. And not everyone who has a family member in the United States who can apply for them will qualify to get the green card in the United States. Now, it doesn't disqualify you completely from getting the green card, but you're going to have to go about it in a different way than applying in the United States. So I'm going to explain. So there are only certain family members of US citizens can apply for the green card while being in the United States, even if they are without their papers. And these are the immediate relatives of US citizens. And that means that this is the spouse, the parent, or the son or daughter who's 21 and under 21, not 21 and under 21. Son or daughter who's under 21 and unmarried. These are the three individuals that if they came to the United States with a visa or if they were paroled into the country, as in given permission to come into the country, then they would qualify to adjust status while being in the United States. So that is definitely a benefit. But if you fall into any other type of category, so if you are the son or daughter of a US citizen or a legal permanent resident, you're over 21 and unmarried, then that is going to be that's not going to qualify you. Even if you came in with a visa, if you are undocumented, the only way that you could qualify in any other category is if you manage to maintain your legal status for the entire time that your family member is applying for you. So I see a question here, and it's Salar Ali Shima. Thanks for joining in. Can I apply for work permit after 150 days? So I believe you are referring to the rules that apply to the asylum. And it really depends on the particular circumstances in your case, and this was related to a particular rule change. So I'll have to see if Biden has reversed that change in the rule, and if you are able to apply. But it really depends. So if you want personal legal advice, just give me a call at 561-405-4889. Let's talk about your circumstances. Now, this is usually in reference to asylum. If you're not applying for asylum, then this this would not necessarily apply to you. So it just depends on what you're applying for, what immigration benefit you're applying for, to determine whether this rule would apply to you. Okay, so you applied for asylum. So yes, so in order to determine whether that 150-day rule applies, I would need to sit down with you in a consultation. So you can give my office a call, and then we can go over your situation. But I wouldn't want to advise you in particular when you can apply unless I talk to you in person and I understand what's going on. Hi there, Urina. It's nice to see you. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments, and I would love to answer them. Right now, I'm talking about who qualifies to apply for the green card in the United States and who doesn't qualify. Now, a lot of people think that just because they have a family member that can submit a green card application, that they would also qualify to apply for the green card in the United States. But that is not the case. Not everyone qualifies to apply for the green card in the United States. Only 2 types of immigrants can apply for the green card while being in the United States. If you are an immediate relative of a United States citizen, and you came into the country with a visa or some sort of permission, then you will be able to apply for the green card while being in the United States. If you are here in the United States, you have a green card holder spouse or parent, and you have some sort of legal status, for example, like a student visa or another status that you can maintain for the entire process, then you would also be able to do the adjustment of status. But you have to make sure that that status will last for the 2 years that you'll be going through the green card process, or more, 2 years or more, depending on who is sponsoring you. So, for example, if you have Urana, my husband's mom is a U.S. citizen. Can she file for us? So this is a good question. Now, she would be able to file for your husband. However, there are some issues that may arise. So the first thing is if he is in his home country, then she would be able to apply for him, but then he's now if he's married, and in this case he would be married to you, it would take a much longer time, about 12 years, because spouses, married children of U.S. citizens, it takes a very long time as well. So it would be a long time. So if your husband is in the United States, then he would have to go through the waiver process, because he's out of status and he doesn't qualify to apply for the green card in the United States. So he'd have to go through applying for forgiveness, and then that he would have to wait out a 12-year long process. So unless the rules change, of course. So Oras Allen, I have an issue. When can I call to talk with you? So the best times to call is you can call anytime. You could even be sitting up 1 o'clock in the morning thinking about your issue, and you can give the office a call. The after hours receptionist will always answer outside of office hours, and they will take your information, and then as soon as we get the information the next morning or the next business day, we give you a call. And the scheduling coordinator will call you and schedule the consultation with you. And then you would be able to get onto my calendar that way in a scheduled consultation. The best times to call to get immediate assistance would be between 8:30 and 6:30 in the evening. Adrian Campbell, if you have a child here, where do you stand? So unfortunately, having a child here in the United States is not enough to get legal status. In order for you to obtain status, you're welcome, Oras Allen. In order to get status in the United States, your child would have to, and this is gain your green card, is if your child was over 21, and your child was a U.S. citizen, then they could apply for your green card. However, unfortunately, there's nothing in place right now to protect the parents of U.S. citizens, unfortunately. But we're going to keep an eye on the current changes that are going on in the immigration system. There's a change in approach. So we don't know what the Biden administration may come up with. They have proposed legislation to Congress, which, is now in their hands. And so we'll have to see where that goes as well. So thank you for your questions so far. Keep those questions coming. These are great questions. So Ginger, if stepchildren come to the USA on a visa, can they stay in the United States and be filed for? Great question. So my stepdaughter has been approved for her visa and waiting for an interview date since September. So your stepchildren, if they are being sponsored by a United States step parent and they qualify. So in order to qualify to be sponsored by a U.S. citizen, the U.S. citizen parent would have to marry the immigrant parent before the stepchild turns 18. And then on top of that, to qualify as an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen to get priority in the green card process, that stepchild would need to be under 21 and unmarried. So in this case, they would qualify, if they're here in the United States, they would qualify to get the green card through the adjustment of status process. However, you asked a follow-up question, which is a little more on the line. And it's my stepdaughter has been approved for her visa and is waiting for an interview date since September. So the thing about that is when they're coming through, they cannot have the intention. So when if your stepdaughter is coming on a visitor's visa, while this immigrant visa is pending and, she's waiting for an interview to get her green card, if she tries to travel to the United States right before her interview will be granted, that could present questions for the officer and possibly cause them to turn her around, which could complicate her issue, cause complications in the process. That's the reason being is when she's coming through to visit the United States, she cannot have the intention to live in the United States. But if she's currently waiting for her interview date at the embassy, that means that she has immigrant intent, and the officer may pick that up at the border. So it's very important at this time. While it could go either way, she could just walk through and be fine, or she could be confronted by the officer. It could go either way, and that's why this is a good question to ask, but it's my least favorite, because I do have to give you that cautionary tale, but at the same time, I would not be able to tell you with precision what would happen, just to tell you what you need to be cautious about. All right, so JP42, what can you say about the delays on biometrics appointments? So because of the pandemic, everything is backed up. And because of that, there are unbelievable delays. It's going on for I've seen as long as 3 months, 4 months, people are still waiting for their biometrics appointment. I know in citizenship, they have citizenship applications. If the applicant has had a recent biometrics appointment, they are waiving the appointments to move the case faster along. This doesn't mean that will happen in your case, but that is one way that they're trying to push things forward. Unfortunately, when you're applying for the green card, they may not have your fingerprints on file. They may not have done a background check before, and so you would be stuck waiting on this appointment. But unfortunately, that is what's going on, and hopefully the Biden administration is working on cutting down the backlog, the terrible backlog. Adrian Campbell, 48, if you overstay your visa, how can you obtain a green card without leaving the country? So if you have a U.S., there are different ways, and it depends on what your circumstances are, right? But I'm going to give you a quick summary. And you can also check out my videos. Those can clue you into how as well. But if you are the spouse of a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or if you are the parent of a citizen, son or daughter 21 and up, and if they're mistreating you, they're not applying for your papers, that's one way that you can stay in the United States and apply for the green card on your own without involving that relative. Another way is if you have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent, and you're here without, you overstayed, you're here without status, then the next thing would be to apply for forgiveness based on your qualifying relationship to the U.S. citizen or green card holder parent. And once that waiver is approved, it would allow you to go to your home country for the final green card interview without facing the severe penalties associated with unlawful presence. So overstaying over 90 days or more. You would not face penalties for that, but you have to be approved for that waiver before leaving the country. Sasag 28, how long do you have to wait until your green card interview after receiving SSN and work permit? It's hard to tell. It depends on who is processing your application. One thing you can do is go to USCIS.gov, go to case processing times, and look up your service center, where the service center that's closest to you. Or not closest to you, I'm sorry, the service center that is processing your application. You'll probably see it on your receipt notice. Once you look that up, you can see the time range that they take to process cases on average. Cindy and Constantine Luca, if you get biometric and an A number, then they say you got denied. No, that's not true. If you get the biometrics and an A number, everybody gets an A number. So everybody who goes through this, if you get the green card, you're gonna have an A number for the entire time that you're gonna be a permanent resident. The biometrics is biometrics. Everybody does biometrics appointments. The biometrics is fingerprinting to do a background check to make sure that you qualify, you don't have any disqualifying issues in your background, like immigration issues or criminal issues. But everybody gets, most people who are going through the green card process, they have to do the biometrics appointment and they get the A number. So, and thank you for following me, Cindy Ann. You're welcome, Ginger Girl. Great questions. So I just want to look to make sure I didn't skip anybody's questions. Go ahead and keep dropping your questions in the comments. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to prioritize your questions. Now, sometimes it's a little bit delayed, so hang tight and I will get to your questions as it comes across, and I now see more. So Jari Figueroa. To get a work permit, I need fingerprints. So usually, yes, you'll get the fingerprint, your fingerprinting done before you do get the work permit. So yes, how long do you have to wait until your green card interviewing? So I believe I answered that question. So overstay for less than 180 days, not as bad, right? So it depends on your circumstances, right? Because if you are, it doesn't disqualify you. So it doesn't count, it doesn't make you inadmissible. So the officer is definitely not going to look at that lightly. They're gonna, say, wow, you definitely violated the terms of your visa. And they're going to want to know the reason why. But under 180 days will not make you inadmissible for 3 years. That's what you definitely want to avoid. Overstay. So most people have to maintain their legal status in the United States before they can get the green card in the US. So even an overstay will disqualify someone so only certain individuals can overstay their visa and get the green card while staying in the US. Those people are the spouse of a US citizen, the parent of a US citizen, or the son or daughter under 21 and unmarried of a US citizen. Those 3 people can do that. However, any other people, once you fall out of status, you cannot apply for the green card while being in the United States. Or you'll have to apply for a waiver. So keep those questions coming. I would love to hear your immigration questions. So this is the topic that I'm talking about, because there is a misconception that individuals who, if you have a U.S. citizen parent, if you have a U.S. citizen spouse, if you have a U.S. Green card holder spouse or parent, a lot of people think that if they come to the United States, if they get here, they can still apply for the green card while being in the United States. That's not the case. Only certain individuals can do that. So Lily Lula 5, what if you have been deported while talking to the judge? He asked you if you had child in the U.S. I believe that was cut off, but in this case, it really depends. So the judge asked you if you had a child in the U.S. And I don't know what your circumstances are. I don't know what type of relief you were asking for, but it could be important just depending on the circumstances. Okay, so Nikki Ramu is saying the live is sticking. I can't see. Oh. On my end, it's saying it's a good connection. So if anybody else is not seeing me, just let me know. JP42, have you noticed that the new administration is more friendly with applications for green cards? So they are definitely making it more application friendly, as in there were some rules that even us as immigration attorneys found unnerving. Those were rules like, for example, simple things like they would reject the application if it didn't have NA, not applicable. If it was just left blank, if the space on the application didn't apply. The Biden administration has reversed, little rules like that were meant to make it harder for people to apply. So definitely, I would say that they're changing the system to make it a lot more agreeable for immigrants. However, keep in mind that does not mean that they're making it completely they're not going to follow the law. They still have to follow the law. They still have to administer the law as it is in the books, and that's the reason why they're trying to push the immigration reform to take down the obstacles that are there for undocumented immigrants. But you definitely notice that there's better customer service. It's a friendlier atmosphere. And that in itself makes a big difference. So on a whole, I'm noticing a difference. So Cindy and Constantine letters. Sorry. Okay, so let's see if I can go back to your original question. So if you get the biometrics and a number, then it says. So the biometrics letter is if it's setting an appointment, and just let me know if I'm misunderstanding. But if you get the biometrics appointment, that means that you should definitely comply and go do your fingerprints. And then another thing is if they're waiving the biometrics for some reason, it does not mean you're being denied. So waiving means that they say, we already have your biometrics information. We don't need anything further from you. It still doesn't mean that you're denied. Lily Lula, no, but you have a child here. Can you be pardoned and come back? So unfortunately, having a child here is not enough. And the judge would have to, sometimes there is relief that the judge can provide to you, but within the purview of the law, it just depends on what kind of relief you're applying for. So for example, if you're applying to have the deportation canceled and it's based on your qualifying relationships, that is a part of that process is to look at your qualifying relationships, your U.S. citizen, relatives in the United States, so relatives as in your immediate relatives, then that could play a part in it. But just having a child here alone may not necessarily prevent you from being deported. Now, there are other ways that they may give you relief. So if you have an attorney, the attorney sometimes, and if you have an attorney representing you, it's always best to defer to your attorney because they know your case best. So defer to your attorney. I'm just speaking generally. I'm not giving you specific legal advice. But there are cases where the attorney may negotiate to have the other side, the opposing counsel, government attorney, agree to put a hold on deportation and allow you to basically defer your deportation and stay here in the United States and maybe get a work permit and then check in maybe once a year. So there are situations like that, but it all depends on your particular circumstances. So have you noticed delays on employment-based green cards? So yes, there are delays on applications all around. And thank you, Vanessa Field 4, for sharing my live. So keep those questions coming. I am going to close out on what I was saying before, but as always, as I see your questions come in, I prioritize your questions. But what I was saying, so Cindy and Constantine, I understand, but I think I made a mistake of not sending the form I-944 because I filed before it was. So if that's the case, definitely give my office a call, because I cannot give you particular specific advice on your case. It just depends on what happened, and to evaluate if your case is in danger of getting denied or if it is denied. Give my office a call, and then we can look more closely at what happened and whether it even can be fixed if it's something that serious. You can give me a call at 561-405-4889. I'm going to put my number here in the comments, and then you will get to speak with if you call Monday to Friday between 8:30 and 6:30, keep in mind you're welcome to call at any time. If you want to leave it to us to call you, go ahead and do that. Just call at any time. You can call 1 o'clock in the morning. You'll get someone. They will take your information and we'll call you as soon as we get your information on the next business day. My number is in the comments under the immigration attorney. So, Latasa Mosa, do you have a master's to be a lawyer? Actually, yes, I do. No, you don't need your master's here in the United States to be a lawyer. You need your Juris Doctor, which is a professional degree. And I did go through all the hoops and loops to become a lawyer. So yes, I am a licensed attorney, and I practice all over the United States and the globe. I represent clients all over to obtain their green card, work permit, their status. And in addition to that, I do have my master's in law in taxation. So I do have 2 degrees related to law. So I have 2 law degrees. So I'm very much licensed, ready, and qualified to practice here. So, okay, so we have Lily Lula. What is the time period for a VAWA? Example, you send a doc this month. Okay, so right now it's safe to say it's taking about 2 to 2.5 years for the VAWA application to go through. It could be less time, it could be more, but the safe bet is 2 to 2.5 years if you sent it today. Now, the great part though is that the work permit can come 6 to 8 months, within 6 to 8 months of applying. Now, Lily Lula, if you are going through a situation, or if you know somebody who's going through a situation like that, that is definitely something that I focus on in my practice. So, and it is a complex immigration process, so you definitely want to go through the process with someone who understands the legal requirements. So give my office a call, schedule a consultation, and let's talk about whether you qualify for relief under VAWA. So, great questions. Keep those questions coming. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I want to take a minute to introduce myself. I'm U.S. immigration attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I practice and represent clients all over the United States and the world, because there are people that want to come to the United States that live outside of the United States. I am here every day. The last week I had a mishap where my face broke out from an allergic reaction to face moisturizer. So I was absent for about a week. But I'm back, and I'm more than ready and committed to, show up every day as I was before. So I'm usually here every day to talk to you and answer your questions. So the best way to keep in touch with me and is to follow me. And then when you follow me, you'll see when I go live, and that will cue you to jump on and ask your immigration questions. You can ask any immigration questions that you like. Also, if you want to check me out, check out, like, Latassa Mosa had very good questions about my qualifications, and you can check that out on my website at stlawoffice.com, or go to the link in my bio, and that will tell you all about me, my the law firm, and what I've done, and the areas that I focus on in immigration law. So I am going to keep those questions coming while I talk, because I come with a topic and I'm talking about who qualifies to apply for the green card and who don't qualify while in the United States. Because a lot of people are here, they didn't maintain their status, and then they think that because they have a relative, maybe they have a relative, that they can automatically just apply for the green card here while being in the US. That may be something that happens in the future, but it's doesn't happen now. So these are the individuals who can apply for the green card as long as they overstayed a visa, came into the United States with a visa, and if they overstay, even if they overstay the visa, they can still qualify. This is a U.S. citizen, spouse of a U.S. citizen, parent of a U.S. citizen, or son or daughter under 21 of a U.S. citizen. Now, if you fall outside of that category, you will need to maintain your legal status. That means keep your legal status while being in the United States for the entire green card process, which could be anywhere from 2 years to decades. So it may not be viable if you are coming in on a visitor's visa, right? So you know for sure that you will fall out of status during the green card process if you are not the spouse, the parent, or the son or daughter under 21 of a U.S. citizen. So if that is the case, it doesn't disqualify you from getting the green card, but what your relative would have to do is, if you're in the United States already, you've already overstayed your visa, you can't leave the country because you'll be barred from coming back, you'll have to apply for a waiver. Once that waiver is approved, it's never guaranteed to be approved. You have to make sure you put a good waiver application together. That's basically forgiveness for being in the US without your papers. Once that is approved, it allows you to travel to your home country to complete the green card process at the embassy in your home country. So that is where it's very crucial to understand what is required, because you may have to go through extra hoops to be able to get the green card. If you're over 21 and unmarried, if you are the son or daughter or spouse of a green card holder, if you're the son or daughter 21 and over and unmarried of a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, if you're the sibling of a U.S. citizen, if you're the married son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, then you will need, and you're here without your status, you will need to apply for a waiver to leave the country to complete the green card process. That's the law as it is right now. Hopefully that changes in the future. Seeing that so many people are here with family that can't help them because of the way the rules are designed. But it is important to understand that, so that you don't make those mistakes, that you go about it correctly. So if you would like to fix your immigration status and you have a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, spouse or parent, or a son or daughter who's 21, citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up, give me a call, because I can talk to you, I can help you to determine your options, and I can represent you throughout that process to make sure it's a smoother process. So let's see what other questions. I see another question here. It's from Kemaro. So if you already married to a citizen, would you have to go back? So if you're married to a citizen, US citizen, you overstayed, you say you're out of status, but you overstayed your visa, then and everything else is good, because I'm just speaking generally here. There are no criminal issues, there are no other types of immigration violations involved, then you would likely qualify to apply for the green card in the United States. But it's important to make sure you qualify in every way for this process. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will be back tomorrow. So what you can do is follow me, and as soon as you see me go live, just hop on and ask any immigration question that you would like. Let me go ahead, and I just want to give a shout out to Jamaican Italian Kitchen. It's nice to see you here. So go ahead, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. All right? Okay, have a good night, guys. Bye.